Dr. Maxwell Maltz discovered the self-image concept as we know it today. In 1960, he was a plastic surgeon. And he realized he was operating on people. He may remove a nasty scar from their face. And he noticed sometimes when he removed the scar or maybe did a nose job on them or something, there was a great psychological change took place in the person. Where they may have been introverted, they started to become very gregarious and outgoing. And he postulated that there must be two images that we have, an exterior image, and we also have an inner self-image. And he started to study this, and he wrote a magnificent book on it called Psycho-Cybernetics. And psycho-cybernetics, psycho being the mind, cybernetics being the science of control and communication. And he goes into this, and he explains how every one of us has an image in our mind of ourself, and it's called a self-image. Too many people don't know much about themselves, and so they don't have a very good image of themselves. And you'll often notice that people will shy away from you. They won't look you in the eye. They'll look down or look up. They'll never try to do anything of any great consequence because they don't think they can. They have a poor self-image. But yes, if we're told we're not very good, you're just like you're dead, you're a bum, you're never going to do well, you didn't go to school, you can't win. That's all false. We can do anything. And we should be encouraging a child. Give them a pat in the back rather than a kick.
Okay, how can we improve it? Something specific. How can we go about making our self-image more positive?
Well, if a person would sit down and let their body relax, totally relax, and build the image in our mind of how we'd like to see ourselves, how we'd like to see ourselves acting in life, relating to other people, our social life, see ourselves in the position we hold, or how we make our sales presentations if we happen to be in selling or something, and then take that picture and describe it, write it out in the present tense. I am so happy now that I see myself, and write it out. Now, a lot of people will laugh at this and say, that doesn't make any sense. It makes a lot of sense. They can't tell you why it doesn't. I could spend hours telling you why it does, and I could explain it in such detail that everyone would understand it. But write out a description of how you'd like to see yourself. Start to read it, and read it, and read it, and read it every day. Carry it around and keep reading it. The one point that all the great teachers, all down through history, have all agreed on, they've been in complete unanimous agreement on it, we become what we think about. Now, it may be fantasy at first. It might even appear to us as being a lie. But if you read it often enough, you'll start to believe it. And when William James said, believe and your belief will create the fact, you will see the person's personality change. I watch people in the seminars, personality change right in front of my eyes. And all they're doing is starting to see themselves different. They're starting to think different thoughts.
Hi folks, very good morning. Happy Sunday. I hope you've had a good weekend so far, and today we are touching on my favourite subject of all time. And sometimes I think about why don't we speak about this early in the week, but this is a bonus session, and if you're still here with us right now, this is going to blow your mind. Good morning, Nikki. I hope you've had a good weekend. So what I love about that clip there, there's so much gold in there. One, you can hear the work of Maxwell Maltz. Now, this is the book we're going to be referring to today, and there is so much. If you do not have the book Psycho-Cybernetics, one thing to do, if you're going to do anything from this week, is buy this book. This book has changed so many people's lives. Maxwell Maltz changed the whole psychology sector forever, way back in the 60s, because what he noticed as a plastic surgeon, as you heard in that clip there, was that when he removed some kind of disfigurement or changed people's appearances, he's seen a psychological change in people, moving from being introvert to being really gregarious, as he said in the clip. And he went to postulate that there was two images we have in us. We've got an outer image we show the world, and we've got an inner image as well. And psycho-cybernetics, and the word psycho is about the mind, and cybernetics is about the science of control and communication. And you've got cybernetic instruments in your home. You've got the thermostat at home, on the aeroplanes taking you on holiday. You've got different, the autopilot. So these are all wonderful, wonderful, wonderful information, but it's what we do with this. Because too many people in the world, and I was including myself, were walking about with a really, really poor self-image. And this is what today's session is all about. Whatever you've been told in your life, from school, the report card, colleagues, family, friends, it doesn't need to be that way. But we know that what we've been told over our life shapes our mindset, shapes our beliefs, shapes our thinking, shapes our feelings, shapes our behaviours, shapes every single one of our results. So if you want to change your results in every single part of your life, today's lesson and today's subject is the key for everything. So you've got to really ask yourself how you want to live your life. And we've did some exercises this week to do exactly that. And it's writing it down. And it's repeating this, all these dreams and these pictures and these ideas. It's writing these down and repeating them over and over and over and over again. I'm so happy and grateful now that, and you can put it into any words. And at first you might think it's a lie. At first you might not believe it. But the more you repeat this through the principle of autosuggestion and you plant it in the garden of the subconscious mind, you start to believe this. And you've done it with so many different things in your life. And it might not make sense at first when you go through exercises like this, but the more you repeat this, the more you can change every single part of your life. I am living testament of changing my self-image and everything that's happening in my life right now. You've got no idea what I'm attracting into my life, and it's like magic. It's like coincidences. But as Bob said in that clip there as well, is if all these different authors over time have agreed on one thing is that we become what we think about. So we've got to really understand what our dominating thoughts are. We really need to understand how they really control us. And we really need to understand how we go about changing these things. And this is what today's session is all about. And what I love about that clip as well is that was Bob way back in the 1980s speaking about it. And then I was working with him in the 2020s. 40 odd years later, 60 years later after Bob being introduced to this material, I am still living this dream and allowing other people to do the same. It is so, so good. So it's all about beliefs. William James, one of the famous psychologists way back in the 1900s, said, believe and your belief will create the fact. So your self-image, the way you see yourself, is what we're going to be touching on today. So give me a little wave in the comments if you're here today. I hope we're all good. It's been a manic week. It's Sunday. It's been really busy. No doubt I'm feeling a wee bit tired. I'm feeling a bit tired today, but that's okay because Sunday's a day for rest and really rejuvenating. And it's about really, really understanding this material and living this material every single day. So who's here to take some notes? Who's here to learn? If you're watching back and replay, do exactly the same. And I'm going to cover a lot of stuff. Not only am I going to cover psycho-cybernetics, I'm going to cover this book here by Doug Dane. It's called Mistaken Identity. Today's lesson is titled Mistaken Identity. And more often than not, we are carrying around with us an identity that's a mistake. A mistaken identity is living a life of who you think you are that's not real. And this title of this book says, Stop Hiding and Start Living. And this is a guide to letting go of the past that's holding you back. So if you want to buy another book, Mistaken Identity by Doug Dane, is absolutely incredible as well. So that's what we're going to cover today. So take some notes, listen in, watch this back on replay, and just watch what happens as you start to change things. So let's focus on Bob first. I want to focus on just to go back to the main points in the video we've just heard, and we're going to play it at the end. There's one key thing we need to understand about self-image, and it's that your self-image controls everything in your life. Now, what Bob is explaining in that video is that your results in every single part of your life are a direct reflection of your self-image. So you don't outperform how you see yourself. You act consistently with the internal identity, who you see yourself as on the inside. Now, we know from this week that you already have the potential to change. You have changed this week from the conversations I've had, from what you've been putting in the homework, from what you've been putting in the chats from the other nights. You're changing. And the ideas from this week is that you're not lacking ability. You're limited by your current perception of yourself. And this is so profound. If you change the image of yourself, you change the results in your life. So, as Bob is saying, when we relax, when he's saying it in that video, when we relax, we allow our mind to do something different rather than being tense and anxious and scared. And what Bob suggests in the video is saying, by relaxing the body and consciously creating a new mental image of yourself, of who you want to be, this is about repetition. Seeing yourself differently over and over and over and over again. And it's like going back to that land of make-believe from when we were younger. And as we said yesterday on the call with the book Genevieve Brand wrote, Your Invisible Power, she was saying that visualization is absolutely key. And the first chapter in this book, and there's 3 books I've referred to already this morning, it's building a picture of how you act, how you think, how you show up in the world for yourself and for others, because the subconscious accepts this image and it starts to align your behaviour with it without you even noticing it. So if behaviour follows identity and not the other way around, most people try to change behaviour first. And you know this because at New Year, all these New Year's resolution, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. That's not going to work. Most people try to change the behaviour first. But what Bob is talking about here in this clip is he's flipping this round. If you change the identity, the behaviour automatically follows. But here's the critical thing. Consistency creates the belief. Consistency creates the new belief about who you are. And the more you hold the image, the new image, the more it becomes natural. Another book I'm going to refer to, a lot of books, like a library here today, The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. This book is like my Bible. And it talks about one particular chapter in here on failure. Now, most of us have got a horrible relationship with failure. We think, oh, we must avoid failure at all costs. But the true failure he talks about in here is about how we assume things to be happening in our life. It says, if you have been reading this book, having a thorough knowledge of the application and working of the law of assumption, so that's assuming everything's going to happen in your life, whatever that is, good or bad, you faithfully apply it in an effort to attain some intense desire and fail. So what is the reason for failure? If to the question, did you persist enough, you can answer yes, and still the attainment of your desire was not realised, what is the reason for failure? So the point being here is, when we keep working and working and working and working and doing the affirmations and writing my goal out and doing all the things we're asking you to do this week, if the true thing, if you still don't succeed and you're still seeing what's going on, this is about to give you the answer. The answer to this is the most important factor in the successful use of the law of assumption. The time it takes your assumption to become fact, your desire to be fulfilled, is directly proportionate to the naturalness of your feeling of already being what you want to be, of already having what you desire. It says the fact that it does not feel natural to you to be what you imagine yourself to be is the secret of your failure. So another book by Neville Goddard I spoke about was The Feeling is the Secret. If you don't feel that the new image becomes natural, that is the real cause of failure. Now, we're going a bit deep today, but this is the most powerful concept you will ever discover in your life, because when I did, it changed everything. The feeling inside of you needs to be natural, in that you are worthy of your goals, in that you deserve it, in that you're not just good enough, you are better than good enough, you are perfect. And eventually, that confidence starts to build when you've got that consistency. Because remember, consistency creates belief. And when that confidence builds, and results catch up with the new identity, that's what manifestation is. When the idea is molded in the 3D world and you're patient enough to allow the 3D world to mold itself in that new image, you then become the person you imagine yourself to be. Is this making sense? I know this is a bit deep, but the core message from this is that you don't get what you want. You get what you believe you are. So when you think about your life as a movie, when you write this script out in the present tense of everything happening in your life that you want to happen, then you get to decide in this play, in this movie, you decide the version of you. You get to see it clearly. You feel it every single day. And you live into it. You lean into that. And this is what happens with this. This is so, so powerful. And this week, we've been making a lot of reference to the stick person about thoughts and feelings and behaviours, giving you every single result in your life. It's so simple. But today is about thinking. Today is about feeling. Today is about earning your worth, not just money, but every result in your life. And it's about rewriting your self-image. And when you've got a self-image script that you record and you listen to, and I listen to it every single day, and there's one recording I listened to that I recorded in April 2021, and I still listen to that today. And things in that self-image script I listened to have came true, which means that when we repeat it time and time again, your results will manifest in the real world. Do you want life to be better? Because today's session can unlock everything you require to make it happen. So let me ask you something. Why do some people consistently win while others stay stuck? Why do capable people, and you know people, including yourself, why do they not act? And why do we know what to do, exactly what to do, but we don't do it? And it goes back to what I said earlier. You don't get what you want. You get what you see yourself as. And this is why I'm referring to so much literature today, because this is what I study. This is my life. I study this material every day because I want a better life for me. I want a better life for my family. I want a better life for my clients. I want a better life for my community. I want a better life for every single business I come in contact with. I will never, ever stop doing this. And what Maxwell Maltz is saying in his book, in Psycho-Cybernetics, is that you have a self-image. It's a mental blueprint of who you are. And I want you to think about it like this. It's like a thermostat. You know, when you've got the thermostat at home set at, say, 22 degrees, if that drops below that, it sends a trigger to the heater to go on, the boiler. The heat goes on and it heats up your house. And then when it gets to that 22 degrees again, boom, put it off. And that's exactly like you. You will never, ever, ever outperform your self-image for long, like persistently. And the easiest way to think about that is if you're earning, say, 20 grand a year, 30 grand a year, that's your self-image there. You can't earn £100,000 a year because your self-image isn't on there. Now, you might have a month where it's towards 100k per year, but your self-image goes boop, boop, boop. Slow down, calm down. Now, I'm going to tell you a story here. That happened to me. When I was earning £40,000, £45,000 a year in my job, I thought that was me. And I started in business, and I actually, 1 month, I earned £45,000 in 1 month. So I actually matched, it wasn't just 1 month, it was a couple of months. I matched my monthly salary to my annual salary. And I thought when people had good chat, I thought that was just a lot of nonsense. But something really interesting happened. You know, the first quarter of the year, I really succeeded. So it was up here. Now remember, my self-image is on this line here, £45,000 per year. But I was like £45,000 per month. And here I'm down here, and my paradigm, my self-image said to myself in April, it's time for you to take a rest. And what happened with my income? It came down again. And I took a rest. And I remember May, June, July, August, September. I got to nearly the end of the year and I was like, how can I not get back into the swing of things like I did at the start of the year? Because my self-image was holding me back. So by the time I got to November, December time, and I started performing again, my self-image held on to my performance. So I never outperformed my self-image, and I understood why that was. But as soon as you should raise your self-image up, then you can have more consistency. And that's what started to happen. Now, that's not just within money. That could be in any part of your life. You could be telling yourself, I'm a shy individual, and you avoid speaking in front of groups. This week, we've heard people saying, I'm not good with money. So you're in you have poor financial decisions because you don't feel you're good with money. So all these beliefs is about how you see yourself. So in Maxwell Maltz's book, Psycho-Cybernetics, it's given us the tools and the understanding of how to change this. Now, what Bob Proctor is saying within the video clip, and we'll watch that again at the end as well, is that self-image is stored in the subconscious mind. Now, part of your paradigms in your subconscious mind, limiting beliefs, is your self-image. And it's built through conditioning. It's built through the environments we've been around all of our life. But it's built through repetition. That self-talk that we tell ourselves daily, our subconscious believes it to be true and it acts on that. So I asked you a question yesterday. Would you like you if you met you? And whatever that response is, gives you an indication of how your self-image is, that self-concept. When I used to ask myself that, no, because I was lonely. I had self-sabotage, the thinking, my behaviours, all of that, never aligned for who I was. But now, I love myself. And I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I truly, truly respect me. I believe in me. I'm more aware of what that does for my life. And the more we do that, the more it can really start to change you. So I'm repeating that more now. The more you love yourself, the more you thrive. And if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. And that's what Bob would say all the time. We become what we think about. If you see it in your hand, you can hold it in your mind. And this is exactly what we do within our academy. And Sandy Gallagher worked with Bob to create the material within our academy. And she specialises in visioneering and imagineering, taking these concepts of the mind and really bringing them to life. Now, Sandy's 70 and she's still a world-class equestrian. She still does horse riding on a weekly basis. And she wins world championships because she visualises these things. And she goes a step further. She creates posters in her home of her already winning the trophies that she's going to win. And she lives from that point of the actual fact happening and it being real. Because her identity drives performance, it drives her leadership, and it drives her income. And it can do exactly the same for you. Because if identity can drive performance and leadership and income, what do you want? Because you get to set the thermostat for that. And you must become the person who achieves the goal in your mind. So it's not setting goals and hoping and praying that you get there. It's becoming the person who has the results already. It's living from the wish fulfilled, as Maxwell Maltz says in his book, The Power of Awareness. So this whole self-image concept here is controlling your behaviour. You need to understand this. And your behaviour is creating every single result in your life. And your results reinforce the self-image. So everything that's happening, and we talked about the reticular activated system this week, your mind looks for proof and evidence to support the beliefs you've got about you and about life. So when things happen, you go, there it is, I told you things are crap, I told you I'm not good enough, then you reconfirm and affirm that belief to be true. So we must break this loop at an identity level. That's how deep we must go. And the exercise is this knowing, doing gap. So you can get all this information this week. You know what to do, but you don't do it. And it's the gap in the middle here. So the question for you is, who do you know that you could be? Have a think. Who are you currently showing up as? So you've got somebody that you would like to be like. You've got you who you are right now. So what's that gap? What's that gap in the middle? And do you feel that? So I want you to close your eyes just for a minute here. And we are going to really tap into that next level version of you. So close your eyes. And let's really imagine you as the person who's achieved it all. That next level version of you achieving everything you want. And we've done a few exercises this week for you already. How do you walk into the room? What do you say yes to? What do you no longer tolerate? How do others respond to you? And open your eyes. And that was the shortest of exercises there. Now, you need to tap into that emotion there, that new layer of emotion. Confidence, the certainty, the calmness, and that calmness being power. And we need to anchor this every single day, because the version of you in that picture already exists. You just haven't been living as them yet. So as we mix this concept of Maxwell Maltz, Bob Proctor, the subconscious doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. But through repetition, through emotion, this is what happens by reprogramming. But you need to put the effort in. You need to put the practice in. You are not lacking ability. Please be assured of this. You are living from an outdated identity from way back from when we've been children. And I'm still there as well. It still pops up now and again. So you need to understand this. Your income is a reflection of your self-image. Your income is a reflection of your decisions. Your income is a reflection of the level of action you're taking or the inaction you're not taking. Does that make sense? Because the common self-image limits you in every part of life. I mean, and if you're here thinking about your business, then and we've had conversation this week as well about selling. I can't sell, or I can't charge that. Who am I to lead somebody else? Who am I to lead a team? I need more qualifications. I'm not ready. So all of these words we use with ourselves are not real. Because the truth is, these are not facts. They are identity patterns that we live over and over and over again. Now, the work we've done with Sandy Gallagher, we meet Sandy every single year. And her principles are pretty simple. High performance don't just work harder. They think differently about themselves, and they think differently about money, and they think differently about success. That's how one of our programs within our academy is called Thinking into Results. Because most of us aren't thinking into the results we want. We are outthinking ourselves out of results. So instead of, how do I make more money? You ask yourself, who do I need to become to earn at that level? So the final exercise for today, and take a pen and a bit of paper, and you write this. The version of me who earns, and put whatever figure that is in there times your goal, I spoke about this on Friday, is someone who, and you could have acts like this, thinks like this, decides like this, and you start to create a little self-image script. And I would encourage you to spend a day, a week, a month, really writing your self-image script out like the movie you want to play out. And you've got the pen. You're the architect of that. So as we said yesterday, Bob was talking about faith. Faith is the ability to see the invisible and believe in the incredible, whereas the masses would probably think impossible. You need to develop that faith in yourself. And the only way of doing that is by understanding where your self-image is and where it needs to be. You don't need more information. We talked about this at the start of the week. This week was not about more information. You need a decision about who you are. So this week, you've seen it in action. Now you've got a choice. You decide to stay the same or to step into the version of you that already exists. And that's exactly what we do inside our academy. We rewire your self-image. We shift emotional patterns through the wonderful work that Nikki does through NLP. We build wealth thinking and we build wealth strategy. So our methodology is quite simple. IQ, EQ, FQ. Your IQ, your mindset, your EQ is your emotional intelligence, and your FQ is your financial intelligence. And that's what we do within our academy. You don't just learn it, you become it. And that's what our clients are doing in there. So most people we know from the work we do are trying to fix their life. But what they really need to do, we know, is to redesign their identity. And this is what this whole week has been about. Creating your reality. You've now got everything you need from this week to create whatever reality you want in future. So if we never speak again, you've got the tools. You just need to apply these tools. So I would urge you to go back and watch the replays over the next couple of days, because they will come down tomorrow night at midnight. And if you still want to consider working with us, then book a call. We're here to help you. And some of you I know are considering working with us, and some of you are already working with us. So we are so grateful for that. But finally, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up for you. Thank you for being so participative. Thank you for being just true and authentic in the homework and being a shining light for so many people who need to see courageous individuals like you for taking action. So never stop. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. And I know you're going to choose to live it to the max. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. So we're going to finish off with Bob again, talking about self-image. And if I haven't spoken yet, please book a call. We're here to guide you, and we'll see you again, either within our academy or we will be back next month. So have a wonderful Sunday, restful Sunday, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.
Dr. Maxwell Maltz discovered the self-image concept as we know it today. In 1960, he was a plastic surgeon. And he realized he was operating on people. He may remove a nasty scar from their face. And he noticed sometimes when he removed the scar or maybe did a nose job on them or something, there was a great psychological change took place in the person. Where they may have been introverted, they started to become very gregarious and outgoing. And he postulated that there must be two images that we have, an exterior image, and we also have an inner self-image. Mm-hmm. And he started to study this, and he wrote a magnificent book on it called Psycho-Cybernetics. Mm-hmm. And psycho-cybernetics, psycho being the mind, cybernetics being the science of control and communication. And he goes into this, and he explains how every one of us has an image in our mind of ourself, and it's called a self-image. Too many people don't know much about themselves, and so they don't have a very good image of themselves. And you'll often notice that people will shy away from you. They won't look you in the eye. They'll look down or look up. They'll never try to do anything of any great consequence because they don't think they can. They have a poor self-image. But yes, if we're told we're not very good, you're just like you're dead, you're a bum, you're never going to do well, you didn't go to school, you can't win. That's all false. We can do anything. And we should be encouraging a child. Give them a pat on the back rather than a kick.
Okay, how can we improve it? Something specific. How can we go about making our self-image more positive?
Well, if a person would sit down and let their body relax, totally relax, and build the image in our mind of how we'd like to see ourselves. Mm-hmm. How we'd like to see ourselves acting in life, relating to other people, our social life, see ourselves in the position we hold, or how we make our sales presentations if we happen to be in selling or something. Mm-hmm. And then take that picture and describe it, write it out in the present tense. I am so happy now that I see myself, and write it out. Now, a lot of people will laugh at this and say, that doesn't make any sense. It makes a lot of sense. They can't tell you why it doesn't. I could spend hours telling you why it does, and I could explain it in such detail that everyone would understand it. But write out a description of how you'd like to see yourself. Start to read it, and read it, and read it, and read it every day. Carry it around and keep reading it. The one point that all the great teachers, all down through history, have all agreed on, they've been in complete unanimous agreement on it, we become what we think about. Now, it may be fantasy at first. It might even appear to us as being a lie. But if you read it often enough, you'll start to believe it. And when William James said, believe and your belief will create the fact, you will see the person's personality change. I watch people in the seminars, personality change right in front of my eyes. And all they're doing is starting to see themselves different. They're starting to think different thoughts.
I hope you enjoyed this video.